Welcome to Alice Just Alice 55. You're listening to an AI-narrated audiobook version of my original story, The Unclaimed Werewolf, an Unbound Wolves novel, written by Alice N. Smith. Chapter 26, Where Distance Says Too Much. Eamon ran. He took the forest in long, punishing strides. Wolf form stretched lean and low as he pushed himself past comfort and into necessity. Branches whipped past his flanks, brush tore at his legs, and still he drove harder, breath ripping in and out of his chest. He didn't slow. He didn't allow himself to. The land blurred beneath him, familiar paths ignored, easier routes dismissed in favor of straight lines and instinct. He cut across ravines instead of around them, leapt streams without breaking stride, and let the ache build until it burned. Because every mile he put between himself and Nora felt wrong. She was hurt, not badly, but enough. And worse than the injury was the waiting, the strangers at the edge of her land, Brooke staying when she didn't want him to, the council inserting itself where it had no right. He should have been there. By the time the trees thinned and the scent of his pack reached him, his muscles trembled with exhaustion and his lungs felt raw. He slowed only enough to avoid crashing headlong into the perimeter patrol. Recognition snapped through the line. He didn't stop to explain. He shifted at the edge of the clearing, the return to human form, leaving him unsteady for a heartbeat as he dragged air back into burning lungs. Someone called his name. Someone else started to ask questions. He waved them off and kept moving. The central fire was still burning when he reached it. Alpha Halvar stood nearby, speaking quietly with one of the sentries. He turned as Eamon approached, the conversation ending mid-sentence as his gaze sharpened. "You ran hard," Halvar said. "I needed to." Halvar studied him for a moment longer, then gestured toward the shelter. Inside. They moved without ceremony. The space was quiet, heavy with old authority and familiar scents that usually steadied Eamon. Tonight, they didn't. Eamon didn't sit. "I need your permission," he said, "to stay with her, to protect her." Halvar's brows drew together. "Those are not small requests." "I know, and you're certain this is what you want." Eamon hesitated, just a fraction. "I know she isn't safe right now," he said carefully, "and I know leaving her alone feels wrong." Halvar watched him without interrupting. "I don't know what this will become," Eamon continued, "but I know I can't walk away." That earned a slow nod. "Tell me about her," Halvar said. So Eamon did. He spoke of her land and her solitude, her refusal to submit, the attack, the blood, the council's interference. He mentioned the dog without elaboration, trusting his father to understand what that meant. Then, after a pause, he added, "She was raised in a human village when she was very young, near her territory." Halvar went still, not rigid, still. "What village?" he asked. "I don't know the name," Eamon said. "She described it once, near a river bend, an old stone bridge, east of her land." Halvar turned away without comment. He crossed the shelter and removed a folded map from a chest, spreading it flat with deliberate care. His movements were measured, controlled. "Here," Eamon said, leaning in and indicating the area, "or close to it." Halvar followed the gesture with his eyes, then paused. For a long moment he said nothing. His expression didn't shift. No anger, no reaction. Eamon could read it all. But something tightened behind his eyes, distant and closed. He folded the map again and returned it to the chest. "You will go back," he said. Eamon blinked. "Back? To her territory, Halvar continued. Immediately, you will remain with her. You will protect her. Relief hit first, then uncertainty. You're agreeing, Aemon said. I am directing you. Aemon hesitated. And you? Halvar's gaze drifted, unfocused for a heartbeat. I have a matter to look into. Is it about the village? Halvar didn't answer that. You don't need to understand it, he said instead. You need to do your part. Aemon frowned. Will you come to her land? That depends, Halvar replied, on what I find. The answer settled poorly, heavy with things unsaid. Halvar stepped closer and placed a steady hand on Aemon's shoulder. You did the right thing bringing this to me. Go back to her. Keep her safe. Aemon opened his mouth to press again. Halvar shook his head once. Not now. That was final. Aemon didn't argue further. He turned and shifted, wolf form snapping into place as urgency surged fresh through him. He launched back into the trees, muscles protesting as he pushed himself just as hard as before. Behind him, questions remained unanswered. Ahead of him was Nora, injured, isolated, and surrounded by decisions she hadn't made for herself. Whatever his father suspected, whatever he intended to uncover, Aemon had been given only one certainty: protect her. Everything else would have to wait.